ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। असतो मा सकमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। शांति शांति शांतिः। Om Shri Sai Ram. Good evening. So today I wanted to share with you something that was a morning message from Maharishi Ramana and then his disciple and a great master in his own right, Nisargata Maharaj, where they said that they are merely instruments of consciousness, and the example given was that while sound and music comes out of the radio, but when you open the radio and take out its parts, there are no sounds or there are no speeches recorded in that. You will not find anything. Same way, in the human body, if we open our bodies, if we go under the knife, if the surgeon was to cut us open, then they will find all the anatomical parts like the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the liver, and so on. But they will not find consciousness inside. And yet, it is that consciousness that flows through us. So when Shri Krishna gave the lecture or sermon or the teaching of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in the battlefield, in Mahabharata, then it was the body of Krishna through which the consciousness manifested and came out the words of wisdom, which later on became for all of us a guiding and enlightening book on the path of self-realization. In the same manner, for each one of us, that same consciousness having all that wisdom right from the time of Rama, thousands of years back, Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, Guru Nanak, Sai Baba, and all the great masters who ascended where they could experience this consciousness, they could realize this consciousness, that consciousness, that same one consciousness embodying all the masters in the past was and is still available, and they were able to access that consciousness. And as I've been sharing in my morning consciousness messages with all, this consciousness has always been available, is available, and shall remain. And all that stops us from experiencing this consciousness is our mind, which takes us outwards, which still hooks us into the light and sound show of the world and entraps us, that while we still are caught up in this attractions and charms of the outer world, we'll never be able to experience the charms, the joy, the fairs, the festivals, the carnivals of what is inside of us. And this is something that the mind is just unable to understand. And I used this expression yesterday, and I've done it once in the past, that mind is extremely stubborn. What it doesn't like, what it doesn't want to hear, what it does not appeal to it just rejects it and continues, and it creates its own path. It says, yes, I understand there is consciousness, but I will do it this way, and I'll do it that way. And it keeps creating arguments, rationales, reasons for everything. For everything, there is a reason. Very logical, very profound, because the mind is a master of convincing. It is this whole world of argumentation, this whole world of intelligence of the mind, which we have lived in, which we have utilized successfully to become somebody in this world, and which has given us name, fame, honor, position, status, wealth. How can we simply let go? And therefore, while we are enjoying, when we sit in meditation, the joys of being with ourselves, we're simply unable to convince ourselves to go the whole hog, to actually come out on the other side. And for many of you who are part of this group, it's at a touching distance, but yet there is some unknown force, there is some unknown resistance, there is some strong, very strong resistance within you. which is keeping some of you away from experiencing, which is not only your birthright, but by not experiencing it as soon as possible, we are missing out on something which is far greater than any joy that these eyes and ears and the organs of smell and touch can ever imagine. It's beyond all our imagination, but yet that experience is delayed for us because we do find time for everything else. We are not able to somehow cross that Rubicon, cross that line. And clearly there is no one else who we can put this onto, because by now, having understood it, if we aren't able to do it, clearly there is a weakness on our own side. And the day we are ready, and the day we think that with all the other things, we'll be able to do this, then it will happen at its own sweet time. However, if we are able to go for that entire experience, then you can continue to consume everything else in this universe, because nothing will ever take you out of that continuous and eternal experience of one consciousness. But till we reach there, these distractions just create immense delay, and we miss out on something. And the reason we feel we are not missing out, because we don't know really what it is. So that's how that which is available, that which is willing, waiting to manifest through each one of us, continues to wait, continues to be patient, continues to be devoted to us, while on this journey of self-realization, as I shared in the morning, the two essential things that we need to carry along with this journey is intense devotion, which is what we called as Parayanam when we did the Atma Chalisa Parayanam. It was 40 days of intense purification, devotion, and dedication, which we said, if we are able to bring in that intenseness, that intensity to our seeking, to our devotion, we can surely experience that permanent state of consciousness. And it requires patience to be in that state. And once we are able to leverage that with satsanga, with a constant reminder, with a constant company of those seekers, then it can happen in any moment. So clearly, all of us know it by now. All of us understand the tools that are required. We have the knowledge. We cannot say that we are still afflicted by tamas. So when we say asato ma sadgamaya, we pray every time, O consciousness, lead us from unreal to real. So by now, everyone knows what is real and what is unreal. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, that please remove the ignorance or the tamas or the darkness of my ignorance and bring me the light of knowledge. So each one has a light now. They're no longer ignorant. The third stanza is just the result of knowing what is real and unreal, having the right understanding and knowledge, applying that in our life gives us Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya, takes us beyond this whole idea of birth and death. Now, having got the knowledge, having understood everything, if we do not spend our time in this deep contemplation of what is still pulling us into the unreal, and if you look at where our time is going during the day, is it in being in the real self, or is it still being engaged in the unreal? And if we are engaged in the unreal, what is the attitude? What is our state of mind? What is the state of consciousness in which we are engaged? Because we will be engaged in the world. But there is a way in which we need to engage, so that even though you are engaged, it does not impact you at all. Now, this is the manana, this is the contemplation that each one of us has to do by ourselves if you are interested at all in experiencing the Amritam, that immortality, that nectar, that divine Ananda. If we have to experience, then really now it's not a question of not knowing how to do it, not knowing what to do, how to do, when to do, where to do. All that is now known by all of us. Now we just have to do it. And what's stopping us? And why are we still getting ourselves caught up in the outer? Is a question that only we can ask ourselves, and only we can find answer for it. Otherwise, what Maharishi Ramana experienced, what Nisargadatta ji has experienced, what Sai Baba has experienced, what each one who elevates to that point of consciousness experiences, is available to us to be experienced here and now. At this moment, it's available to us. The question is, do we want it or do we not want it? And if we can put some time and attention, then certainly no other help, no other guidance, nothing else is required. And as I mentioned during our session on the day of Shankaracharya Jayanti, remembering that great master, remembering his famous words in Bhaj Govindam, that there is not a single moment to be wasted, because life is like a bubble, life is like a drop on a leaf. While it is there on the leaf, it is shining, it's glowing, but it can fall off in an instant. And that is the reason in Atma Chalisa, we were very clear. We talked about one of the first things we did was we took death out of the way. And we all said that we accept that this can happen in any moment. And that we should be able to accept it, deal with it, and know that this is the certainty and it is coming any minute. As soon as we were born, it was overdue. So, why do we keep feeling that we have enough time till eternity for this to happen? This sense of urgency for everything else we express. If you look at your lives, what you are, where you are, what you're doing, there is a sense of an urgency, a plan behind everything we are doing. This is the only thing where this plan somehow just doesn't get made. And if I've tried to push a few people around, you push them, they run away because the mind is just not ready. And that is why it takes eternity. We come so close, but we run away from it. We come close, we run away from it. And that's the nature of the mind. So one has to let go. It's like the beautiful quote that the sun shines every day on the perfect and the imperfect both, on the good and the bad both. It knows that everybody has been given a choice. And the day when we get tired of this running around, from these sights, smells, and sounds of this world, then we will come back and say, I am ready for it. When I started on this journey, the two masters who really impacted me were Baba, that is Satya Sai Baba, and Swami Rama. And one commonality between both of them was that they had this amazing ability to express the most difficult truths given in Vedanta in the simplest possible manner. And I used to amaze at how Baba would put across everything so vividly in such few words that it would sink in directly. And that is how I realized that Baba was not just a simple master, but Baba had this innate ability to give us the profound truths of life in such simple and easy words. And he would relate to it so that it became very practical for us. And that's what really got me to Baba. And it's only much later when I started to go regularly to him, while he never spoke to me except for a few words, but in the silence, in the presence of the Master, I got all the instructions. He passed on all the knowledge and all the wisdom in the silence of my heart, without ever uttering any words. As they say, when the seeker is ready, the Master is ready. And the Master is ready to give everything that the Master knows, because that is why the Master takes birth. A Guru comes in our life only to share all that the Guru knows, so that this knowledge, this wisdom can be carried forward. And this is when I started to also read about Swami Rama and how beautifully he came in. And there was something about Swami Rama that appealed to me, that spoke to me, that tugged my heart. And every time I would hear that Master talk, and I would say, I could see myself talking. There was this unknown connection that I had with that Master. And between the wisdom of these two masters, there is some transformation that started to take place. And today, the experience when I was, or I am, reading the transcript of the Atma Chalisa book that we are doing, I'm experiencing that same knowledge of these masters has been expressed so simply, and such profound wisdom has been manifested or channeled so that it can be understood, it can be contemplated, and it can be made use of for breaking these shackles that still bind us. And this thought came to me when I was reading the words that were spoken by this body. That same simplicity that attracted me to my Master, that same simplicity, that same effectiveness is now coming across once again. Because in consciousness, there are no endings. In consciousness, there is only continuity. And this continuity flows. This consciousness flows. We are all tapping into this continuous flow of consciousness, and it is waiting for each one of us to become an instrument which can tap into that consciousness, which can become aware of this consciousness, which can experience this consciousness. And though nothing can be found around us which is consciousness, but yet this consciousness communicates through us. And there is no need for a memory. There is no need to remember anything. There is no need to carry any baggage with us. because consciousness is available and consciousness is flowing. It's like the electricity. The electricity is flowing. It's flowing through the fan, through the light, through the laptop, through the air conditioner. All we need to do is plug into this free flowing, energetic presence called consciousness. And that consciousness flows then through you. And that is the state of mindlessness, choicelessness. All the pain and suffering is invented by us because we are stuck in the mind, and the mind has created a world of its own, and therefore it has created the sense of attachments, and then the hammer blows start. They become painful to us. It's because of our wrong understanding. And once the understanding starts getting shifted, this understanding must reflect in positive change in us. We have to shift in line with this understanding, in line with this understanding that this is unreal, that where I am putting my time and effort is unreal. It is not going to take me anywhere. It's not going to help me in my life at all. It is not going to give me that final experience. But yet, we continue to keep investing our time and effort into that. Such is our state of distraction. Such is our state of being scattered. Such is our state of disillusion, of being in this delusion, that we continue to waste our time in the pursuit of the unreal. And the goal of life just keeps being away from us. So near, yet so far. And that's the quandary, and that's the dilemma. And that's the beauty of this beautiful game. And we continuously not knowing why we keep playing in this game. But if we understand that this is how beautiful it is, and that we can end the game in this instant right now, we can do it. And the reason why satsanga is important, and the reason why we meet every Saturday, is a continuous reminder. It's a continuous guidance. It's a continuous effort that one day maybe perhaps we decide that enough is enough and I want to break free. And I refuse to continue to be a prisoner of the matrix, of the illusion that I've created around me. And the day we are able to do it, everything will start to shift for you. And you will also start to flow in that simplicity, in that clarity. Because in consciousness, there are no complications. In consciousness, there is no confusion. And this confusion will go away, as Nisargata Maharaj said, that it is not what you have to do in life, it is what you have to not do in your life. So our life is somewhere still full of a lot of things that need not be part of what we have to do. But our attachment to that way of life, the things that we love, is what still clings on to us, and we cling on to it. We don't know whether it's clinging on to us or we are clinging on to it, but that clinginess is still there. And therefore, that sense of detachment can come in any moment. That's why Vairagya is important. It is that one hammer stroke. Moh Mudgada, Bhaj Govindam, as I discussed. You should all read it. Otherwise, this world keeps pulling on to us. Yesterday, my daughter and I was sitting, and so she was talking to me about some future plans of hers, and she said, "Dad, uh, I'd like to start an enterprise. I'd like to, do a project. Why don't both of us do it? And if I were to start up, will you manage my project?" And I told her, I said, "Look, where I have reached, these enterprises just don't mean anything to me." I said, "What I am enjoying can never take me back to anything else. I've left that world so far behind that you cannot now bring me back into something which you want to consume, which you want to enjoy. Go ahead, you do that. I will be present with you in what you do energetically. But my world is different." She says, "Yes, I know, I see it. I hope one day I am able to also enjoy that." I said, "Sure, your time will come too. And when that comes, when that moment comes, you know where to go." So when we walk on this path of the real and the unreal, and when you have the clarity that comes from when the ignorance gets removed, when the darkness goes away, and when there is light, then there is absolute decisiveness. The understanding is so clear. There is no vacillation. Even though the path is unknown, as Rumi says, but you exactly know what you need to do. The others around you may not see it. The others around you may have different plans. The others around you may have confusions. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. Because what's meant to happen happens. Consciousness sees things, knows things, manifests these things. This is how it is created. We first see it in the consciousness. We create something first in our consciousness, and then we simply manifest it. So when we talk about this age of love, when we talk about Kailasa, the abode of love, then it's already been manifested in consciousness. And it's coming. Nobody can stop it. It's going to happen. And all those who are connected will experience it. And to the others, they will connect when the time they choose is right for them. because we do have a choice. We do have a choice to make. And the time is really supportive, because from 2020 to 2021, for 2 years, we were all forced inside because of a virus. Now we are going to be forced within because of what's going to happen in the world. And as I have been saying, these two very clear things are going to happen. The ones who are stuck in the world outside are going to be consumed by the destruction that's going to take place. And the ones who are already working their way within are going to dance with joy, because of the beauty of this love is unparalleled. So the two worlds are being carved out right now. One is being constructed, the other is being destroyed. And both these dances are beginning to happen, and they'll become more and more pronounced, and it'll start happening more rapidly, and you will experience it. And this will also push us. For those who are ready, they will be pushed into it, or they will choose the. Because if you still want to climb and be into two boats, then this is going to be a difficult journey ahead. So I hope each one of you gets that clarity, each one of you sees that light, each one of you chooses to follow that path of light, and each one of you lets go of this rigidity, stubbornness, this mind's arguments of how things still should be done the way it urges you to do. And if you're able to let go of all that, and if you're able to really sit back and examine that what I am doing at present, is it taking me where I need to be? And if you have clarity where you want to go, and if you support that clarity with clear actions towards reaching that, then the time is absolutely perfectly set up for all of us, not one, not two, but everyone to reach that point. Because it is time. It is the moment. It's very powerful, this moment. So, with that, if you can just close your eyes, and only for 2 minutes, I won't take you more than that, because more than 2 minutes is dangerous with this group. So we'll just do 2. Experience the power of this moment on your third eye. शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः